And this is Horns Up. I'm Animesh.
I'm Peter, and let's just get straight into it. We've got Bangalore's very own Bevar Sea. So, guys, can you quickly introduce yourselves to the listeners so they know who's who?
This is Srikanth. I am the founder of the band. I started this in 2008. This is the current iteration with Michael on the lead guitars with me. He's with me here as well.
Hey guys, Mike here. I take care of the solos, the leads on this latest album.
Fantastic. Talking about the latest album. Congratulations, guys. The Timeless Zone has released a few weeks back, and it's your first in 5 years. How many times have you heard it back since release? And how happy are you guys with it at the moment?
I think we've heard, at least I have heard it a couple of times. Quite happy with the outcome.
I heard it once with Mike and Ganesh, and we were having a beer and we were trying to see, is this still good? Because I've been hearing it since I think 2019, at least parts of it when I started writing the Timeless Zone, the song, and then basically we did this like long distance. I'm sure we can talk about that in detail. And I've been hearing it at the demo stage and the mix stage and the master stage. So yeah, I mean, hearing it now after a few months break was a little bit refreshing. I felt safe that we did a decent job, and we can do at least one more.
That's good news. So that means the boys played well, using Mohammad Azharuddin's words.
Absolutely.
So, this was recorded at the Doom Cave, as it's known again, right?
Yeah. So I would say about 60% of it was recorded at the Doom Cave. Doom Cave is practically my bedroom studio, and this period was a little bit weird because we had a baby. We basically had COVID restrictions, so we had to get one member at a time, and we had to record all the parts. Drums, though, we recorded at Mrinal's place. Mrinal basically runs this excellent studio called Same Class Productions, and Leslie Lewis, who also plays for Thermal Underwater, he was uh, involved in recording, mixing, and mastering as well. So drums happened there.
Leslie Lewis from Colonial Cousins fame.
No, Charles.
Charles. I'm just making it absolutely clear for everybody, for anybody who's listening.
Sorry, Leslie.
That would be a different kind of Doom fusion album.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, Leslie Charles. So we recorded the drums, some guitars over there, and everything else at the Doom Cave.
Yeah, we started the guitars there to just get off our ass, and then we shifted everything to Srikanth's place.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened was we weren't actually in the mood to do this during the pandemic, but for some reason Ganesh went to the studio, the same class productions, a couple of times, and then he just finished this Mega Drone album, and he called me over to record some parts. So all the guitars that you hear uh, are done by me, like just plug and play type thing. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and it was kind of a safe environment. This was the peak of like the first wave, beta or whatever they called it. So then I told Michael, maybe dude, we should start as well. And at that time, I was like, I haven't done home recording in many years, so let's just go to Mrinal's place. Let's just see, what comes out of it. And we kind of jammed together over 3 songs, Michael. I'm not sure. And then we went and recorded some guitars, and everything turned out awesome, and they all made it to the final album.
How fair is it to say that this is a pandemic album? Because I'm assuming that in a hypothetical world, if the pandemic didn't exist, I'm assuming that the album would be released much earlier.
I would say later because
Really?
even though, I think it pushed us to just do something during this time because all of us were kind of sick of being locked in. I think we are a very lazy band. We are very slow. We generally don't meet even without the pandemic. So I think it kind of drove us to make a plan and then just get it done. So we did it in the very pandemic way of slow iteration type thing, right? Everybody just worked on their own machines, their own setups, and then they sent in their parts. We were like, instead of the studio, I'm sorry, we did the arrangement like this over email. And then we basically finalized at the demo level, this is what we'll be playing. And then we used that as a reference, and then we made the final recording one by one. I think the pandemic drove us to finish it this time, but we were sitting on our asses for like literally 3-4 years Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. So we didn't make any progress. Uh, we kind of chose one reason after the other to not make progress because our drummer left the city, Deepak. Then Ganesh had a baby. I what was I doing? I just didn't do
You had
anything.
kidney
What was
stones.
Mike doing? Mike
Oh
didn't do
my
anything.
God.
So I thank the pandemic for kicking our asses and making us do something for sure.
We did finish the album early, at least recording early 2021. It
Yeah.
just came out a year later.
Yeah, actually, that
Yeah,
was
that's
going to
what
be my
happened.
next question.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I mean, you at least said that there have been lineup changes on this album, and Michael's joined in on the band. So, how did he become part of the band? I'd love to hear that.
I think you need to take
Michael
this
or from
weekend.
me?
Yeah.
You want
I'd
to hear
like to
it
hear
from
both
Michael?
versions.
I can say this. So Chaco was leaving the band. I kind of thought about who's like, who could be a decent option, somebody who can grow into the band because ours is not the kind of band you can just join and you can just work, right? Because we don't do just that simple stoner doom type thing. We want to do a little bit of hard rock, a little bit of metal. So you have to generally understand, what the band needs, what the song arrangements need. Taco brought in his unique melodicisms and all of that stuff. We wanted to preserve all of that. Plus, we wanted to have somebody who was easy to work with. Then I was like mentally scanning who's free, who's basically approachable. And then I messaged Michael, and that worked out. Michael was in a band called Renegade, and I think by then they had disbanded. And he was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do this." And then we jammed a couple of times. Um, it kind of worked, and then we played a couple of shows, and then we kind of took a break. After that, we started writing together. So when I come up with something, I would call the other guitar player. So we kind of do the two guitar arrangements first, and this was the exact same thing that I did with Chaco. So there was continuity, and there was basically uh, time. I mean, we took time basically to make sure the two guitars work the way that shows up in the album.
Okay. Okay. Michael, I'd like to ask you the day Srikant messaged you and the day you read that message, what were your initial reactions like? And then what happened from your perspective?
Quite surprised, to be honest. In fact, we were in touch. We were going to get together and jam and do sort of some Michael Schenker
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. And yeah, I was excited about that. Never thought that he would ask me to join Bevar Sea, but yeah, I'm thrilled about it. Yeah, but it's been super slow since then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because I remember Shrikant and me exchanging messages, and then last year I think it was because when we keep doing the albums to look forward to, I keep messaging him every year saying, "So is it this year?
Status,
Is it
yeah.
this year?" And Shrikant was like, "Yeah, yeah." This was I think end 2020, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, 2021 albums coming out," and then finally like he said, "Okay, April we're dropping the single." So I was like, "Okay." April, if you drop the single, then the most logical thing for most bands is
Around
release the
3
album the
months.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 months, right?
Hmm.
We're talking 10 months later and the album's here. So there's a different, like, this is like glacially slow.
Yeah.
What was that, like just an unorthodox marketing thing, or just tell us how it all played out? Because you said you were done recording in 2021 itself.
Well, we were done recording the album in 21. I think it's just how things panned out. We were simultaneously looking out for labels maybe that can push the music, and it happened so that the album was just pushed a year later. We were going to release it by ourselves, in fact. That's why we released the first song. So, but then Metal Assault came forward, things went well, talks went well. And so happened that the album came out in Feb a year later. Yeah.
I think whenever you involve a label, you have to fit into their plans, and these US labels, and I think Europeans as well, they don't release much November, December, end of the year. So the first possible window Metal Assault gave us for our album release, basically, they all planned things around that Bandcamp Metal Friday or what do they call it? Bandcamp Fridays. They look for like one Friday, so every month, right? So the window is like very very small for releasing albums. So you'd put out an album, you'd open up somebody else's album for pre-orders, maybe with a single out and things like that. So what we did was put an album out, sorry, put a single out, and just remind people that we are there, we're not completely gone. And then we kind of reached out to some of the labels we knew. So we wanted to say that, look, if we put this out ourselves, we can do a decent job. But if we went with a label who, came with their own roster, their own, fans, and an active label with shows happening and all of that stuff, we can do a couple of things. One is hand over the logistics to them, get access to a different set of fans, and also possibly play some shows abroad in the future. So, Metal Assault are on the verge of setting those things up for Europe, and the US is already happening, especially on the West Coast and East Coast. So it seemed like a good idea for us to go with Metal Assault, and that is why I think it took 10 months. But we don't mind. I think we put three singles out. There is three more. We will take our time, putting these things out as singles. I think over the next few months we'll be slow and steady about this. I want some continuity from this album to the next. Basically, um, I want to say that we are around. We are an ongoing band with no stupid hiatuses and stuff like that. So from 3 to 4, I'm hoping to do this faster. In fact, Ganesh is like bugging me every time. Start writing, dude. I was like, if I keep writing, I stop playing the guitar. I'm just thinking about the songs and what Michael will play, what Ganesh will sing, and what drums can happen, what Avinash will do on the bass and stuff like that. So I want to play some guitar. I want to basically, just get away from that Bevar Sea thing a little bit and then come back to it with a fresh mind. So I think that's what I'm going to do for the next few months. But the singles will keep coming. So this release, I'm thinking of it as like a 12-month, 15-month kind of a release.
That's interesting. Two things stood out for me from what you just said. One, the fact that you are releasing 3+3, that means essentially all the 6 songs on the album as singles. That's pretty unique for a stoner doom, stoner rock, however you want to categorize yourselves, with a band with this kind of a sound, right? Because isn't this kind of a sound, doesn't it lend itself to enjoying an album from start to finish rather than as singles?
Yeah, I think we write it and arrange it so that it kind of flows well from the start to finish, and there is a beginning, middle, and end to the whole thing. But we also make sure that every single song is also kind of playable live. It's catchy. It kind of can work for people who have the patience, right? There are some shorter songs as well, but if you are in the mood for immersing yourself uh, over 9 minutes or whatever, that's the average length of our epic doom songs, right? I think there is reward in singles as well. I think if you I've randomly had Beaver Sea songs play in my playlists and things like that, like on my car and all that. I think it kind of works, especially in the context of heavy metal and driving and those kinds of things. I think that's what most people, the single listening people, do, compilations and playlists and those kinds of things. I think uh, we want to make sure our music works on like a vinyl kind of format, side A, side B. We want to make sure it works for the CD kind of format, right? Which is basically like a whole album at one go. We also want to make sure that every song is unique and you can just push it out, separately, right? And everything also has to be played live, or rather playable live. We're not playing, but when we play live, it should fit in a set and it should have a good live experience. All of these things makes for our sound.
Hmm. Okay, and the second thing is uh, going with all singles. Does that also mean each song gets its own video? Because so far your 3 singles have 3 videos, right? So are you guys making sure that all the singles will get that component too? How important is the video component for each song now? Is it like a necessity? Is it a must have?
Yeah, the visual aspect to it is very important because if you think of it, I don't know if you guys realized it, it is actually a conceptual album from start to finish. Every song blends into it. It's one trip, from, there's ebbs and flows in this whole trip. It is psychedelic. It is euphoric, and it is a bad trip also. So the visual aspect of it is very important. I mean, the visual aspect for Bevar Sea has been important for the first two albums also. So that's something we like to hang on to and keep doing.
Yeah, I mean, the first album we actually did unique artworks for each single. The second album, we did not have the time to do that, so there was just a central, invoking of something bizarre, right? That was basically the theme of the album, right? This one has a theme, has a lyrical theme. So we wanted to convey it in the best possible way visually, because uh, there is there is merit to giving stuff to people on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. And when they listen to the music and when they connect with the correct visual, it's not us playing, it's not us looking cool and all of that stuff. We can do that if we want, but we are kind of very lazy about this. So what we like is collaborating with people who are kind of skilled, who have either no background in this stuff. We've done that with the first two singles. This guy from Sri Lanka had not done this stuff before, and he was kind of an end-to-end kind of a guy, right? He can take photos, he can do videos and stuff like that. So considering the whole world is, in a lockdown, what can you do in a house, right? That basically was, Alpha Nun's video. It's not perfect because, I mean, considering the time and the circumstances we live in. But for the third one, we gave it to somebody who's done a lot of stoner doom type stuff. The
You're
circle.
talking
So
about
we
the
basically
circle?
said, yeah, the circle. So we basically told them, dude, we just want ancient people getting high. Just give me that, right? And just put the lyrics on top of it. So that was the brief for the third one. I think the first and the second, there is more depth to all of that stuff. The circle is just meant to be like a fun trip, right? And then you have the rest of the album with their own whatever. So every song has its own vibe, has its own feel, and we want to basically approach it. I know budget constraints and all, but we want to get like the best visual out of it, for sure.
Since we've spoken so much about the music, I think it's a good time to just play one of the songs. Which one should we play and why?
I think we should play the song "Kiss the Sky" because it's the shortest and it is like the most chiller song of the lot. I don't know. I called it the most positive sounding song of the album, but most people don't think so. But I think we should play that.
Why do you call it the most positive song on the album?
No, it's
This is
just theory,
interesting.
man. There are
Yeah.
some positive sounding chords in a couple of places on the album. There are some clean guitars and things like that. So we generally don't do so much of that. But this album has that stoner kind of a thing going.
Here it is. Here it is. Kiss the Sigh.
It is your head
All right. We're still talking to the guys from Bevar Sea. I want to talk about the record. The fact that you have a new guitarist in the band, I think it really shows because the solos are far more meatier. The riffs I found to be a lot faster and chunkier, but the songs themselves I found to be a bit more plodding. How do you think the song dynamics kind of evolved from the previous album? And is it purely because of the change in guitarists? Do you think that, or was it something that you were already thinking of when you had started working on the music even earlier?
Yeah, when I was doing the first album, I had the widest spread as a music fan in terms of what I listened to, right? I probably grabbed the most from the various stoner, doom, sludge, psychedelic rock, and classic rock, whatever it is. That's the first album. By the second album, I think I tried some different stuff, but within the same realm. I think for this album, I was pretty much like a um, hard rock metal guy
Okay.
but playing stoner doom, right? So that was what I restricted myself to. I wanted to make like a hard rock album, but done for the stoner doom crowd, right?
That kind of
But
explains it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so when you say prodding, right, it is the grooves. So there are times like the circle, right? I on the guitar we are playing like faster parts, and the bass is just holds the root note, locks in with the drummer, right? And we wanted to basically keep it like slow and groovy and laid back for those parts basically. And same thing happens on the last song of the album, Cadaver Awake. So those are conscious decisions. Like we don't want to be uh, like a like a metal band with double bass and those kinds of things. We want to be more immersive, and there are parts where we play our asses off. There are parts Michael kind of goes for it on the solos. So all of those things happen. There are times where some like we're not like advanced players, but for us, some of those parts are kind of difficult to play, difficult to remember because it's the fact that there are so many parts in our songs, and we if there is a change, we are like, oh my god, what's happening? So there are those kinds of moments as well. So it's a mix of what Michael brought to the table. Michael is more of a chops kind of a guy, and I think what I was listening to, what I wanted out of these songs, right? I would write like a fast riff, but then I would ask these drummer and the bassist to basically think of them being in 70s rock bands, right? So if you just mute everybody else, just listen to the drums and bass, they are playing like simple 70s rock. I think the kind of direction is like, just think you guys are playing in Deep Purple or something, and just give space when needed, and lay back when not needed. So those kinds
So
of
basically, in
directions.
short, you were channeling your inner Tony Iommi, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I think especially the Dio era, right, where there is like
Ah,
more of the plodding stuff. There is more groovy type stuff, and Cozy Pole drumming, or Mr. Apiche drumming. So that those were the directions as well. Yeah, sure.
Michael, did you have to change your playing style to meet the Bever Sea sound?
No, not at all. Not at all. No. This is how I play.
it it
Yeah.
it, it shows that like I was listening to the earlier records and then I heard this one again, and you can distinctly see and you can tell that there is some new energy infused in the guitar solos, especially because they're obviously coming from somebody who was not part of the band from an earlier stage, and that clearly shows. I thought it was a much needed kind of a boost that was finally there, and purely opinion, but I think it'll sit very well when eventually the band starts playing live and goes to tour with these songs from the Timeless Zone. What's running in your head when you're being told to do these solos, or when you have the space to do these solos? Are you trying to just match what the song needed, or just take us through your process?
So, I mean, there was a lot of discussion between Srikanth and I as to how we want to phrase the solos. There were a lot of takes that went in the demos, and had to think through how you want to do it. And for Srikanth and I, we want to approach it because some of these solos just go on from 32 bars, super long, and you need to think through. So we were saying, let it be a song within a song, right? Build it up, cause some, and there was a lot of freedom to just pull out ideas. So for some of the solos, it was just me like just jamming 5-6 hours, trying to pull out ideas, trying to do different things. Take it to Srikanth, play it for him, and we play together, and we discuss it. Go back home, see how I can refine it, stuff like that. So it was a nice process to come up with these solos. Some of them I got in first take. Some of them, took some time to put them together. Yeah.
What's the solo you're most proud of?
I think the one on Sterilize the Divide. Yeah. I personally like that one. Yeah.
Why is
I
that?
think
Like, is it something? Is it you pulling off
I think
a chop that you?
No, I think it's
Or-
just phrased very well. So
Hmm.
yeah, it just moves from one riff to the other really, really nicely. That's one solo I like listening to. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Srikanth, you're prepped for this question. If not, here it goes. Because I'm the dad here, the death metal dad or whatever you want to call me. Now you're the doom daddy, another new one. But I mean, when I was just wrapping my head around it, right? You recorded, released an album while working a full-time job, and you had a kid, and all of this in the pandemic. Do you have like all these Excel sheets with time slots and things like that? Are you like super efficient, or how did you manage all of it?
Oh man, I'm a very organized person at work, and when I wake up, so I basically look at my calendar on a Sunday evening, and I know what I have to do in terms of work the next whole week. So I know exactly when I'm going to be free, when I am not free, and I have that visibility. I'm thankful for my employers for that, and they don't set up meetings on Friday evenings because they're in the US, but they're still respectful of my Fridays, right? So work was stable. I think let's take that out of the way. No worries about work at all. And in terms of having the baby, right? I'm getting old, dude. I'm 40 now, so we didn't know when the pandemic was going to end. I wanted to be
Don't
alive
know.
when the child
We
was.
still don't know.
We still don't know, right? And I wanted to be kind of alive when the child is going to college and stuff. So I thought, okay, let's if not now, when, right? So we just made it happen. It was incredibly chaotic, incredibly difficult. I think it still is. I don't think it'll get better on that front. Maybe until the child like moves out. I don't know when that will happen.
Or moves to college, right?
Moves to college, yeah. So I have some Kerala blood in me. We tend to, migrate and study somewhere else and make a life somewhere else, right? So yeah, it was chaotic, but I kind of liked uh, the fact that I had music to go back to. There was all this new gear I was buying. I had motivation to continue working properly because that SMS that you get on the last day is amazing. So a lot of that went into buying gear for the Doom Cave, right? And I got new amps and getting new tube amps again and again. Like I got like uh, two tube amps. I got a new interface, like a massive interface, and set it up so that we could do all of this stuff, right? So I was very motivated in terms of getting this album done, and I was never questioning my employer because I think they gave me decent salary and they gave me a good reliable schedule, right? And all that was left for the chaotic part was the child that I had to deal with. So still dealing with it.
Yeah, and as someone who's had a few years under this, it only gets better, right? Because at one point you'll be just hiding your gear in certain cupboards where they cannot reach.
Oh man, like she's crazy for my guitar's trem bar, right? I have this Floyd Rose guitar with whammy bar. She goes and just keeps yanking it. So when I'm playing, she comes and yanks it. So I think she wants me to be more like Van Halen. So I think the next album it'll be Van
Maybe
Halen.
we have another Nita Strauss in the making.
Yeah. Or at least I will learn to play for her with the whammy bar. So I think the next album will be like glam metal, doom metal kind of a hybrid.
Dive bombs.
Yeah. Michael also has a guitar with a whammy bar. So let's do this, Mike.
So I have to ask you this, right? And I think at least Srikanth, I've bugged you with this, but at least for our listeners, let's put this out there. Now, there's a certain influencer, social media superstar, whatever you want to call it, who uses your band name quite often in his skits. Has that resulted in more people knowing what Bevar Sea means? Or like, do people recognize the band name now? Because I still remember that legendary interview of somebody once asking you all, I think it was on TV of sorts, like, what does Bevar Sea mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, we got into some trouble with the band name, especially in some remote parts of Karnataka. There was this Dharwad Engineering College or something whose dean basically said they can play if they change the band name. But within Bangalore, right, Joseph School, we played in school to school kids, and they did not ask us to do any of this. So they all understood this. They were all cool with it. As long as you don't swear on stage, we can't. I mean, we're cool with this. But yeah, this specific chap, he's also from my neighborhood. He's just like literally a few hundred meters away from me.
You can take the names, guys. We're talking about Danish side and his usage of Bevar Sea. Kudka, kukda, what?
yeah.
Although I must note, he spells it with an I and not with the EA.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the actual spelling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was just more nautical and like mythical and stuff. We actually had a meeting with a lawyer friend of ours yesterday who proposed that we have to take on this guy. We should copyright
Really?
our band name because we have records of albums being out like for 12 years. He's a lawyer. I mean, obviously he's thinking this way, but I'm like, I mean, out of these people, Danish Head's fan base, how many of them listen to this kind of music, right?
I'm
Almost
just
none, especially
wondering
after-
if Danish Say takes out like merch saying Bevar Sea. That'll be like a walking advertisement for you guys.
Yeah, we'll send him some.
Coming back to the music, right? I mean, you talked about gearing up your place, the Doom Cave, and stuff like that. I remember you guys actually doing a YouTube playthrough a while back, and now everyone's doing live stream gigs. Are we going to see some more video content from the Bevar Sea
Yeah, because
camp?
you guys have also been like over the last year or so, there's been a lot of activity on your YouTube. So clearly video, like doing ancillary video and not just music videos or lyric videos or whatever, even that's something that you guys are concentrating on in this time and age. Is that the best way to get yourselves heard and get yourselves marketed, get yourselves seen, shown?
I think we want to basically, uh, be more in touch with our fans. We realize that the show is not happening. We don't know when we'll be back on stage. So we thought YouTube was the best because Facebook is basically punishing us for not being active for many years. So Instagram is still decent with us, but it may not last.
Give Zuckerberg wants all your money.
Yeah, basically. So we thought it makes sense basically just to put these things out in whatever format we are comfortable in, right? Things that are like low effort. It doesn't require like serious shooting, editing skills, and all of those things. So the old playthroughs were properly shot for those times, right? But what we are trying to do now is we're doing like random hanging out of just us, and then we're going to talk about things like just like we're doing now, and we want to put those out, and we can cover things that more specific to how to be in a band around these times and how to be effective about all of these constraints that we have. We want to basically let people know that there is a properly functioning band behind all of these sporadic events that are happening, right? And we want some continuity from now to the next album. So I think the best format that we are comfortable with, because we can catch up once a month and we can just set up like a basic light source and a camera, and we can just have a list of topics and we can talk about it. And then as long as it's entertaining, we want to basically put some stuff out, chopped up, and make everything easily consumable, right? I think that is the direction we are going in. We're not going to do like serious production and stuff like that because there is, I don't think it is worth getting into all of that unless we have a fan who's like film student and he wants to do that kind of thing. But for a DIY self-taught kind of a thing, this is what we're willing to do, and I think it will benefit us. It will benefit the fans, and they'll also get to know, what makes us, right? What makes us tick. So that's the plan.
At this point, let's play another song. Michael, why don't you pick one? Which one should we play and why?
Go for The Circle, since it's the last release single. Yeah. In case anyone missed it.
Okay, lovely. Here it is. Here's The Circle. You want to tell us something unique about this song that probably a lot of people who listen won't realize?
It's about ayahuasca.
Gather round in a circle, centerpiece awaits to burn. The holy channel is ready by the shaman to let it grow. Healing for your parched mind, waiting nears the end. shall be lost in the unending stream. Closer you get, farther it seems. So valleys of your mind, savor the views, save your abuse.
All right, we're still talking to the guys from Bevar Sea. Guys, 5 years back, and this is again pure opinion, right? Pure opinion. 5 years back, the scene's appetite for stoner, doom, etc., it seemed larger than what it is today. People seem to be hungry for this kind of music, and throughout like the key cities of India, which have resources where this kind of music is heard and which have this kind of a fandom, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. There were bands cropping up which all kind of played this kind of a sound, right? Um, what do you think has changed over the last 5 years? Is it just because we are not seeing live gigs anymore, which is why we are not getting access to watch more to watch more bands like this, or I don't know, is everybody just gravitating to playing more technical stuff in their bedrooms because that's the only thing you can do, and this kind of music requires jams, etc.
Yeah, I think it's all of that. Also, the fact that it is difficult to be in a band and have like good gear and do all of this stuff. We are able to do this because we could take a break, go back to it. We have stable jobs. We're not doing this for career. We can always treat this as like my colleague doing golf or tennis or whatever. This is that for me. So we're not looking at making our money back. I know most bands don't look at making their money back, but we are kind of serious about this. I think the first two albums we were happy to have broken even. We were happy to have made a little bit extra. But I think this album going in, we kind of knew that this is our a passion project, and we will think of this as a long-term thing. So we signed a label deal for 3 albums. So we know we want to do this for a while, right? So it has to be sustainable. So I think the way we approach is changed a lot over the past few years, because I think between the first and second albums, we had like gigs lined up in the US and like a possible Europe tour and stuff like that. So we were like any other band that wanted to take our music overseas, right? Because I look at my Bandcamp metrics and all of that. 80% of our business comes from Europe and USA. There is, I think, there is a sense of trend in India. There is always like people are into something and then they're not anymore, because most of these fans are in college, and college kids, they finish college and then they move abroad, right? So some of these kids are still abroad, and if they're still into the music, they're supporting it from wherever they are. But most of these kids locally are kind of not doing this stuff anymore, and they've moved on to other things. And if they're doing solo stuff, it's mostly like low effort kind of. I don't want to insult them, but like laptop kind of based, programmable kind of music. So yeah, I know it takes talent as well to make all of that, but it's not the same as what we are doing. You can't make like stoner doom sludge heavy metal type thing without an immersive jam room experience, or people in a room together and doing this.
Some kid will probably hear this and say, "Oh, fuck you guys!" But the next project is going to be an AI-driven machine learning.
So glad you said it.
Doom metal project. We'll feed it all of Black Sabbath, and it'll come out with a new Black Sabbath song.
But
I'm sure
it's
it'll be great because I think that's what most stoner doom is like, right? I
yeah.
mean, you can tell like where they've lifted. You can tell where they've lifted each riff from. I think some bands make a conscious effort to put it in the wrong place. Like if they've lifted a Sabbath riff from their verse, like I do that, right? I mean, shit, man, this sounds like a Sabbath riff, so let's put it somewhere else where Iomi didn't put, right? So if I still like the riff, so there are times where we'll be like, man, this sounds like some other riff that we've ourselves written. We are copying ourselves, right? Because we've had enough distance from our previous albums, so we are making the same songwriting moves. Is it worth doing? Because it makes sense to have our own style, but it also makes sense to not repeat ourselves, right? So it's difficult. I mean, especially being in the kind of genre that we are. I mean, we have to play a particular type of music, and it has to sound entertaining, but still it has to remind people of certain key bands, right? So it's a I treat it as an assignment for myself, right? Okay, this is a challenge. Shrikant, we're going to spend the weekend doing this, right? We need 5 new riffs for a new song, and it has to sound like all of these things. It has to remind people of certain things. It has to have that kind of vibe. It has to have that kind of tempo. All of those things, right? So it's creatively very rewarding, but for fans, you have to be into it to actually appreciate it. That's all I can say. I mean, if you're like a casual listener, everything sounds like Sabbath. I have a friend who's not into this stuff at all. He thinks Candlemas sounds exactly like Sabbath. I don't get it, but
Yeah. For a casual fan, it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's crazy that you say the college gigs, right? Because I'm going to sound really old and date myself here, but I remember watching you guys exactly 10 years ago, opening for Anathema and IIT Sarang, which was in Chennai. Absolutely crazy. I mean, sorry, wait, why am I saying IIT Sarang? It's IIT Madras. That's the only thing that's less Madras there. And that was crazy because like you had like this entire OAT filled. I don't know how many people were there for Anathema, how many people were there for Bevar Sea, but everyone was just like, fuck it, like we're gonna enjoy in there. And that was a great time when you look at it because like there was a time, I think in the I would say from like mid 2005 to 2012, 13, where you actually had a lot of these college gigs, right? And I think you guys played quite a few of them back then. So all of those have like slowly died to, like you said, laptop music.
yeah, I mean, it's cheaper. It makes sense to just get some one guy. There's not much logistics. You don't need to mix it too well. It's much simpler to do all of this stuff. It makes sense in terms of the organizers and the fans because it's more up to date with what's playing everywhere. But I think what will happen, I think, is just like how LPs came back, just like how CDs will come back in a few years. All of this will come back as well. People will start going back to tube amps. People will start, enjoying playing together in a room again. And there will be garage shows. Uh, I think if governments can allow, we might also have shows again, proper shows again. So I think these trends just keep coming back. It'll just take a new avatar. So we'll all be called some classic new wave of classic whatever. I think in the future. But yeah, exactly. So I think it's just a matter of time, man. I think there's a 20-25 year cycle for all of these things. It's fading away now, but I think it'll come back. It's not going to go away completely.
On the metaverse.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christ.
Anyways, okay. As we begin to wind things down, I have to ask. There are two very cool things that you said while you were talking about future plans as such for the band. One was, um, did I hear it right? You guys have signed on for a 3 album deal with Metal Assault.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a 2 album deal with an optional third one.
That's all. That's awesome. Which means, do you already have a calendar of sorts of when can we expect new Bevar Sea music?
No, but I think I want to write music in the second half of this year.
Okay.
I mean, I'm slow with these things. That generally takes us like 1 year. I think what I'm hoping for is faster demo process because last time we had to struggle through our personal recording setups and all of that stuff. I think now all the band members have their home recording setups. So I think that process will get taken care of a lot better this time. I'm kind of targeting 23 early for the next album, and then maybe like 26 for the next album if we are all still alive.
And is there any discussion at the moment whatsoever about playing live again? I know things are like, at least not in India, things are still going slow, but we are beginning to hear about gigs happening at in Bombay at Antisocial and at the NCPA. In Bangalore, I'm guessing at Fandom.
Bring back Doom over Bangalore. Just saying.
There are a couple of there were a couple of offers late last year for us. We basically said just wait. We'll just wait and watch because we had older people in our households and we had kids and we didn't want to
Good
take
decision.
too many risks. And of course, Omicron happened, so we basically said infinitely just wait, indefinitely. Sorry. And then I think last week again those same people started to come back to us saying we'll be doing things again. I told them just give me a few weeks. Let me figure out a drummer who can play, right? And then jam with him, and then we will get the band back together. I don't know when, but sometime this year will be nice. At least one show.
So just give us a heads up, just saying, because I don't think I'll want to move too far away from Bangalore, right? With the family situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for taking some time out and chatting with us. It's been an absolute treat to have you guys on the pod. Finally, like when Peter and I started chatting about even wanting to do this, we knew that we wanted to talk to you guys eventually, but we had at that time. I remember one of the things that we discussed is no, we'll only do this when they actually release a new album.
Wow,
It's
and
taken us 3 years.
He stuck to it.
around 3 years. But yeah, better late than never.
Appreciate this though. It's been an awesome chat.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Alrighty, so that was Bevar Sea. And if you're one of the fans who can help them out with videos, etc., then why don't you write to us and we'll send them your contact details. We're available at hornsupod.com and on Twitter at hornsupod. As always, I'm on Twitter at Asmoani.
I'm at Trend Crusher.
And this was Horns Up.
Horns up, guys.